Behind every great leader is a huge mass of sentientless muscle, formerly known as goons. An alliance of mostly default me's in flat caps and gloves to carry out the business. And in Pokemon's world, every country gets at least one, sometimes even two, maybe three of these organizations to carry out all sorts of goonery across the land. All the way from mugging you for your Cubone skull, Galactic bombing a colony of Bidoof, or committing full-on house invasions just to steal a disc that teaches you what digging is. What a steal that is. Reminds me of the deals they've got going on with this video's sponsor, Raycon, with their everyday earbuds offering you the same premium audio quality as the big boys at a much more affordable price. The latest everyday earbud model has been upgraded with active noise cancellation, multi-point connectivity pairing with two devices at once, and that's right, sweetheart, ergonomic design. Gone through many an earbud in my day, but Raycons are primed for on-the-daily use, not only for its high audio quality, touch control features with 3 customizable sound styles, quick charge function, water, sweat, and dust-proof durability. The game changer for me is how secure this ergonomic fit really is. Before I'd be down the gym, the old earbuds would be hitting the floor more than the weights do, and zesty 4 sets of bending overs added to the routine. Fewer things can feel as emasculating than scrambling the floor of a crowded bus trying to find an earbud that's gone rogue, and that alone more than sold me on Raycon. That's not to mention the vast array of colors and textures available for both buds and charging case. This sunset protective case being my own personal choice, so if you've been curious about copping some Raycons with their upgraded model and a 30-day happiness guarantee, you may as well see what the crack is. Click the link in the description or go to buyraycon.com/Mr1upz to get 15% off your Raycons plus free shipping. You may be thinking, oh, deja vu, oh, I've seen these, but individual villains and their evil organizations they may lead, 2 completely different boxes of frogs. See, some villains are completely goonless, celibate. This time it's about the overall clout of each group. You know, leading the mafia is a far more respectable hustle than leading a group of skinheads who stalk your little sister, but these are the 13 mainline evil teams that are causing such debauchery. Marco Cosmos, your standard corporation bad. Rose and his little organization being one of the most obvious twist antagonists. At this point, my brain is fried from it all. It can't take it anymore. It can't trust anyone wearing a nice enough looking suit these days. I'll be walking through duty free in the airport, sizing up your man, handing out the free samples of Hugo Boss. Nah, he's up to something. That Paco Rabanne is filled with ricin, innit? Not only is this organization predictable, Rose is a fairly weak trainer and has a singular notable lackey, one portion of manpower in his assistant. And I'll reiterate again just how stupid their motive is. Rose wanting an infinite supply of energy for the world. Oh, what a man of the people he is. Yeah, except in a world where New York City's rat problem would keep their electricity generated until the 5000th century. So why are you even wasting everybody's time? And assuming the games are mostly in chronological order, vaguely 3 years apart each, you can give the earlier villains a pass for wanting to summon the blatantly unstoppable once summoned monster to achieve their goals. But by 2019 with Galar, surely this Marco Cosmos crew, first of all, they're a bunch of scientists. I'm pretty sure you'd think intellect would be one of their things, you know? This Marco Cosmos group would have showed some reflection on humanity's past mistakes and instead opted not to summon the region destroying monster. Pokemon's world would have about 4 remembrance days purely from legendary Pokemon casualties by this point. That's on average every 3 months you get a reminder not to pull this kind of thing. You don't even need to go back and look at found camera footage from Kirim freezing your Novan cities to see firsthand it's a terrible idea. At least Team Magma, they could have been like, what's I meant to know? Can you blame me? I thought Groudon would be chill. Galar's history already exists. It's literally called the Darkest Day. You see, this is what happens when you have an organization with only 2 named people. Not enough minds there with sentience to stop and question things here. You're surrounded by scientists too, intelligent people, presumably, and still, you plan to bring an unlimited supply of electricity to the planet by deliberately bringing about a day known as the Darkest Day. You want to try that again? The Black Death 2 Electric Boogaloo. But hey, at least you saved Raichu from running on the treadmill for 20 minutes to keep your house warm for the winter. Team Yell, they're about, just lingering, which is a shame because there's a lot of missed potential for a United Kingdom region. The Pokemon world had yet to represent their interpretation of a set of countries with such a high percentage of casual and hard criminal activity. And that's the one time they decide, oh, this generation, how about we go for them evil teams that don't break any laws. There was so much source there to be using. If they didn't have the balls to go in on the many evil UK organizations they had to choose from, they got the Tories, the BBC, the EDL. But being realistic for Pokemon's world, I reckon it was just asking for a classic British gangster team. Have the villains be another pair like the Cray twins, having battles against them in the pubs. The actual play would have been to host some kind of like Peaky Blinders organization, classic UK gangsters who are rigging Pokeathlon races for the bookies and shifting 2 million quid worth of stolen zinc to the Unova region. I guess I can't set my expectations to be exact from Pokemon's interpretation of the UK compared to the actual UK. There's no way they could have replicated a Great Britain law-accurate Team Yell. Our people are collectively far too socially malicious to ever be realistically portrayed into Pokemon's child-friendly world. The real England doesn't have a Team Yell. We have Team Yell, the N-word at the TV whenever Saka misses a penalty. But nah, not really evil though, are they? Here their leader, Pierce, has gone and assembled this horde of goths to fangirl for his little sister. Dodgy actions to be taken, and Pierce does look like that pop punk kind of guy who fits the template for the exact sort of person who shouldn't be within 100 feet of anyone underage. I think I've cracked it. Maybe that's where the evil comes in, as if they're the remnants of the Lost Prophets fandom. It's an odd team, really. It's like Dua Lipa or someone having the fan base of West Ham. I'll joke about it here, but it mustn't be malicious though. On paper, creepy, sure, but they just mean well. They just want to support Marnie. You know, it's no different than most large, toxic fan bases, really. But as similar to the Marco Cosmos motives of wanting limitless energy is stupid in Pokemon's world, it's also a world where noncery couldn't possibly exist. You'd be able to catch any potential offender like they're going through airport security. Just have you lined up by an Alakazam or Gardevoir who can read into the future, into your mind and intentions, like the Hogwarts sorting hat if it determined whether or not you're a P. So obviously Team Yell, they must be harmless. But then again, you want their evil Villainous team to be a bit capable of some harm in these games, don't you? Team Star are very corny villains, when I usually prefer the more grounded ones, you know, like the mobsters. But I actually say, Team Star, they're not corny enough. They should have gone all the way into it. I want them to initiate Pokemon battles down alleyways in leather jackets, clicking their fingers in unison. Razor Ramon, Sylvie O'Hare, a group of outcasts being menaces I can get behind. But the antagonistic team, how am I supposed to take an evil team seriously when they're getting mugged off by NPCs? How have this lot been ran out of school by not a single person with sentience? This is like seeing Yugi Moto sat in his maths class surrounded by the default Miis. You expect me to believe they could string together a single sentence that could bully a main character? No, the only thing coming out of their mouths is something like, some effect monsters can only activate their effect by being face down and flipped up to initiate. I don't even think they really have a motive. They're just sick of being bullied, so instead of attending school, they just kind of loiter. They're just the kids smoking in the park nearby the school gates. I can give them some credit. They're a good team for the setting of the game, and I rate that the team is made of legitimate boss fights. They actually emphasize on notable trainers who are real characters, and it's not just a boss hard carrying while you occasionally fight nameless vice admirals or whatever. Team Flare are just simply sauceless. Tell you what, you have no sauce. A horde of geeks terrorizing your nation. Like, imagine actually getting mugged by a Team Flare goon. I mean, first off, someone hitting you with the, hey, give me your roller skates. Just not a threatening request, no matter who's delivering it. Feel like getting G-checked in Lazy Town. I don't know about yous, but I'm not about to get sized up by a grunt who looks as though he's gonna ask for my phone and wallet in the cadence of a Hamilton tune, along with the most well-dressed bum I've ever laid eyes upon, leading them with this ace trainer team. They aim to make the world beautiful with style and lots of money, but really, it's just a gaslight, innit? It's always a gaslight. But this time it's to activate an ancient weapon, exterminating all life on Earth except for humans, with an active Team Flare membership, going for the classic overpopulation villain staple, the classic too many pots, not enough noodles. You know, Team Plasma, they actually had a good crack at the gaslighting. They had a valid thing. But Team Flare is just like, oh yeah, what are you lot doing? We just want to make the world beautiful. It's not stylish enough. You know what? Just leave it out. Just, we know what you're doing, alright? Don't even waste our time with the heel turn. Just crack on with the genocide already. So they're shockingly up there on the evil scale. The ultimate weapon needed not only the energy of a siphoned power plant, but a sizable amount of Pokemon to feed it. Their life energy has fed the big nuke. And all those Pokemon, they got the Buzzwole treatment in vain. The weapon doesn't get used. I mean, yeah, it does, but only for the coward's way out. It's like it damaged the planet, mining an entire Bitcoin, only to withdraw it to the wrong address. Hopefully, all that life, it got dished back out to those Pokemon, you know, nice happy ending. Just another pack of comically evil psychopaths with outrageous motives, like wanting to create a planetary-sized magnifying glass and one by one eliminate the human race like Sid from Toy Story. But at the same time, they're an oddly surprising return to form for organized crime villains. They actually get a bit of action sorted. They steal fossils, siphon energy from power plants, pulling heists on Pokeball factories. Like, okay, the beautiful thing, it was a bit too psychopathic, a bit too DNA into eggs for my liking personally, but the movements they're making to get there, some classic organized crime work. The Aether Foundation, a little bit of a grey area on the morality spectrum, but they are clearly a little bit mischievous team of the game. I don't think you could say they're a fully evil team. Evil leader, sure, at least temporarily, but the rest of them, they just seem like jobsworths, like their goal is to cure hurt Pokemon. Yeah, nice one. Only gone and opened up wormholes that materialize Snorlax drinking mosquitoes. Yeah, cheers, thanks for that. They're not a huge presence until the end, tagging out Guzma like, yeah, sound brother, we'll take it from here. Their leader is top shelf evil, at least in one of the versions before it got retconned. They eventually get Gladion 2. He's got a bit of tricep meat on him, and I guess if you include the Ultra Beasts themselves, in a sense, you know, you could argue they're a strong enough faction, and you gotta give it to them. They do have some good notches on their belt at least. Relatively speaking, they were fairly successful in their motives. Maybe not the curing Pokemon aspect, but, you know, they still discovered wormholes and then manufactured a Pokeball specifically tailored to capture these fourth dimensional creatures that emerge from the wormhole without really knowing what they are. Like, I think you'd maybe be getting ahead of yourself, assuming any form of Pokeball could even catch these things. So by that logic, anything could be capturable. You could easily invent a human catching Pokeball. Pokemon's World probably has a 5th Geneva Convention specifically preventing that getting widespread. Not even to mention, they had a fairly good crack at creating an artificial version of God, which, you know, for such an impossible task, they weren't too far off. Could even get it to change type like Arceus. Like what? You're gonna say, oh yeah, we really botched the whole cloning Jesus thing, didn't we? It's only about 79% as powerful as our Lord and Savior. It could sort you out a migraine, but it can't quite do the leprosy yet. Really, the only thing the Foundation failed at doing was child murder. But, you know, mission failed. We'll get him next time. And all that, yeah. At first, I didn't really want to include Rainbow Rocket because it seems a bit overpowered, but I guess I'll consider it since it's an alternate dimension Team Rocket wanting to build an army of Ultra Beasts and conquer the multiverse. That's like a whole different team. The fact that Giovanni is the Don still of all the region's leaders and therefore their respective teams, that says all you need to know. Alright, Don John bottoms to no man. Like, you've got to be a top shelf mind to be the Tony Soprano of a set of villains that has Ghetsis. You're either a genius or a massive psychopath to be able to make a man like that. You're poorly. But I'm glad they addressed that where Ghetsis thinks he's the one in charge, using Giovanni as a pawn. It's a really great idea, makes for some fine post-game action. You're not supposed to overanalyze the logistics of it like I'm about to. If it's fun, just go for it, just make it, put it in the game. But if you're judging this as an evil team, it gets more confusing the more you think about it, because there's nothing to suggest that they still wouldn't want their individual selfish goals, only this time spread out to other universes. And unsurprisingly enough, they all do. So, let's break this down. Summoning the villains from a universe where they're all successful in their plans. Right, first off, so for Archie and Maxie, the exact same ones from our universe, because they're not dead. That's about as successful as they could have asked for had they got their way. Cyrus, if he's successful, then how's any of this even happening? You'd imagine managing to wrangle up little old Dialga and Palkia. That'd be like having Exodia in your hand multiverse-wise. His goal was to destroy the universe, and now he's serving a guy who wants access to an infinite amount of universes. I don't think Cyrus seems to quite understand just how much paperwork Giovanni slumped on his desk. Destroying just the one, maybe 2 universes, he could probably manage, but infinite? It's a workers' union issue at that point. And then Ghetsis, I mean, no, that one's on brand. This plan is dead on for him. The Rainbow Rocket logo, it might not just be fronting for Pride Month. Him and Giovanni would be matching each other's freak all year long. It's also good to know Ghetsis' will to shank children transcends beyond the multiverse. But Lysander, not even sure why Lysander would agree to join in or why the others would even want him there. Because first off, he's a jobber, Journeus and Yveltal in hand or not. But clearly, he wants all of you dead. He'd still just want to wipe out every other life form who isn't Team Flare, which includes literally everyone else on the Rainbow Rocket manifesto. The guy even gets to try it again. They enable this to happen. They give him 2 game show sized buttons for you to let him fire off his ultimate weapon again. So not only are the rest of Rainbow Rocket aware he wants all of them put under, they actively enable and support his wishes. But I think even they knew creating this, it'd be a lore nightmare to make sense. So when each villain gets their way in their universe, they just see a bright light and magically spawn into our universe. Also, Giovanni, you travel through the multiverse and still have a team like a Gen 1 Victory Road bouncer. Current timeline Giovanni in the Unova World Tournament would chuck all of Rainbow Rocket straight back into that wormhole. You face the gauntlet, finally dethrone Giovanni, and then you just let him walk. You just let him teleport into another world to continue his evil schemes elsewhere. He even says this at the end. He's like, I'll be back probably. You guys don't realize what you've done. You know, eventually, if all the other universes are as merciful as our one, if they all keep letting him walk, he's just gonna find a different reality where he eventually gets what he wants. The guy has infinite rerolls to be successful till he steps into a timeline where the protagonists would actually have enough foresight to have him drank by a buzzswole on sight. I don't think they seem to get he wants to rule all the multiverse, which includes the main timeline, the one you think you've stopped him in, which means inevitably he will return and be unstoppable. So I guess we've got that to look forward to. It's fun to think about, and it's a banger post-game gauntlet. But I really don't think you could rate this higher than a majority of the main evil teams. More just a boss rush, a bit of a nostalgia thing than a legit team. So it's a bit tricky comparing Rainbow Rocket fairly to everything else here. It's like saying your favorite football team is the FIFA World 11. Both Team Magma and Aqua, not the strongest around, but I think they set quite the precedence for other teams to follow. They're a very middling set of evil teams. Their grunts aren't too much to handle, the leaders aren't even remotely powerful individually, Mega Stone or not, and would definitely be sidemen within any stronger evil organization. And before I spend the next minute or two going into how stupid everyone within this promo art image collectively is, I will say these teams were probably the perfect villains you could have for Hoenn's region specifically, and they've got a fair bit of charm behind them too. Team Aqua especially, a literal band of pirates as an evil team. That's something I want them to come back to and be fully realized. All things considered, they were somewhat successful. Although they couldn't control them, they did awaken their respective box art legends. They did sway the weather to their liking. So if not for external factors and the big sky slinky coming down, actually it's incredibly convenient these two teams existed and competed against each other at the exact same time. Because if only one of the legendaries got summoned without the other to balance it out, maybe it wouldn't have gone down like the pre-Emerald story. Maybe they would have had their way. But what do they think was going to happen? You think terraforming the planet was going to go down well in any way imaginable? That's not even mentioning the awakening of 2 planetary threats. How do you think that was gonna go down? Kyogre gonna rub the crust off his eyelids like, "Oh, you lot woke me up? Archie, I've only just met you, but you seem like a top bloke. Let's drown the region together, you bloody legend." And what does Maxi end up doing? You think setting off Groudon's alarm, disturbing his slumber, was gonna go down easy for you? You think just because you wear your little uniforms and revolve all your team's branding around the element which Groudon bathes in, you think that'd win him over for you? Think presenting him with a red bowling ball with his name engraved in it would sway him? You can support the same team as him, but he's not gonna be pleased. You've cold called him at this hour. I can understand the motivations. Aqua doesn't want the planet to be completely underwater. They just want to soft reset humanity a bit. Magma wants more landmass for the sake of humanity. And yeah, both stupid game plans all ended up in disaster. But at the very least, from what we know, these two were the trendsetters for summoning the unstoppable legendary Pokemon. So in my eyes, yeah, I think they deserve the pass, innit? Yeah, they made mistakes, alright, but we've all been there. Lest ye cast the first stone for having tried summoning the apocalypse through an ancient deity. Yeah, they botched it, but they didn't know any better. They didn't have 9 generations worth of Pokemon games to play to tell them it's a bad idea. The most warning they ever got was, Oh, this Mewtwo fella seems like a bit of a nutter. I will stay off the gene splicing and stick to the natty attainable legendaries. It came from the ground, didn't he? That Groudon fella. Oh, if it came from the earth, it can't be bad for us, can it? Now, you could argue this is too high a placement because of their overall inaction compared to the bigger evil organizations. But that's kind of what I rate about this lot. Because we all know just how villainous Team Skull aren't about as evil as Bowser is in the Mario and Luigi series. A misdemeanor of a team in comparison to the others. Like your man Ghetsis, he's a lock him in the hyperbolic time chamber for 10 billion years kind of villain. Team Skull's more of a stealing a balloon on National Free Balloon Day kind of prison sentence. They're the trendsetters to the low maintenance teams. And I think they pull it off the best still. It was refreshing. They don't all have to be these maniacal, let's crush the universe together with this giant hydraulic press I've powered up with 1 billion baby Pokemon eggs. It's a nice change of pace that Team Skull with just a horde of post-Code War menaces. Every other team has a strict uniform. Team Skulls, you just rock up in a pair of Night Techs and you're in the club. I feel as though Team Flare and Skull, they almost fill in each other's flaws. Skull, they're not about any business. They don't really get anything done too much, but they have a bit of sauce behind them. Gosma's wrist alone has more sauce than the entirety of Team Flare. And Team Flare, they get bits done, but have zero aura. They're not particularly powerful. I mean, their whole organization consists of trainers who specifically failed at the island challenges, but Gosma is a fairly baller leader, and taking over an entire town for themselves, that's some top shelf Pokemon villainy. Okay, they got a little bit done, but all in all, they just want to be mobile. They just want to make enough money to survive, causing a little ruckus on the islands. They're like a street level Team Rocket. Team Rocket are gangsters, Skull are the pretend gangsters. But this lot actually seem like a united gang, something you don't see with a lot of these teams. Team Rocket is more of a career move. It's a payroll thing, whereas Gosma seems like one of the boys. I'm sure all the Team Skull members, top to bottom, link up for a bit of Jackbox, few bevs, bit of Quiplash. Team Galactic are a great villainous side to compete against. This is when it started. You start getting really serious. You know, like Hoenn. Hoenn was a bit of a mare. Alright, that could have gone poorly, but Cyrus, he's the first who really got deep into the fabric of causing a proper regional ruckus. You could easily argue the game plan is just as stupid as any of the others. It's absolutely another one of them. How did you really expect this was gonna go down? Wanting to reformat the universe and all, make myself God. Why would you even want to touch that? How do you know it's gonna go your way? It's sort of like doing a hard drive transfer. You know, there's always the small chance everything just gets lost. And who do you reckon has got a hold of the flash drive with the universe on it? Because I really think Arceus, he sorted us with a one and done kind of deal. I don't exactly think he's paying for the extra Google Drive space to keep a spare universe lying about. Arceus trying to find the universe backup seed like a Minecraft world he hasn't touched since 2011. Because I know Cyrus and his galactic gal pals, they don't have any backup plan for this. How would you even think to communicate to the gods of space and time exactly what you want? Like, yes boss, did you want that planet turbo flat on that? Or what kind of biomes we saying? Alright, say less, say less. I got your sweet chili and mayo dips and all. They'd be beyond human comprehension. I'd love to see you Duolingo your way into having a quick catch up with universal entities. But with all that being said, now you might think I'm going on about how stupid Team Galactic are. But having said all that, they were somehow still very successful in how far they got with those plans. A genuine terrorist organization. They dropped the MOAB on Lake Valor. Officers, you don't understand. I know my rights. But where in the law does it state it's illegal to own a galactic bomb? Galactic, one of the teams with canonical body counts. They just wiped out generations of Bidoof. And then harvesting materials from 3 legendary elves who do love a bit of a roam about. That'd be no easy feat to then make the red chain needed to capture the gods of space-time. You know, most people, they don't even believe in God, any god these days. For all they knew, these Pokemon weren't even real. They were just a statue in the middle of a village. And here Team Galactic are getting a one-to-one with the pair of them for an objective like wanting to remake the universe, an end goal that if spoken to the proper authorities would get you sectioned. We could have you locked in an ensuite soft play room in a straitjacket within the next hour with that kind of talk. But you have to hand it to Team Galactic. They got very close. It's one of them where the villains are so outlandishly narcissistic, so blatantly dangerous. Like, come on, this crowd are throwing about weapons called galactic bombs. Sounds like an attack Frieza would use if he wanted Namek to blow up in 3 seconds and not 20 episodes. Just the mere rumor of somewhere like Russia or China having developed something with that title alone would be enough to finally complete the World War trilogy. Why is all of this a 10-year-old's inconvenience to sort out? Understandable you'd have to conspire with arguably the strongest trainer alive at the time to take Team Galactic down. Like, alright, real talk. This guy needs to go. The whole lot of them, they need to get filled in, like, right now. Like, there's no moral grayness to this one. No rehabilitation, no poor upbringing type of thing. It's either them or us. So I reckon you try distract them for a second. Maybe whack out a bit of blue shuckle. Yeah, that'll distract them. And I'll have Garchomp on the down low, ready to swoop in. Nice, quick Dragon Claw across the old esophagus. I get that Team Rocket is a nostalgia choice. They're not the most mobile, relatively speaking. I mean, there's not much they could do with the games back then. You know, Mount Moon, it's only like 2 Team Rocket trainers if you're going directly through it. There's not a lot. But I rate the simplicity of the organized crime gimmick, especially in a world as freakishly ridiculous as Pokemon's. And honestly, the goons aren't too bad either. Like, a lot of their Pokemon are quite annoying. Like, inflicting poison on you, supersonicking, Raticate even with Super Fang, Hyper Fang, I hate that. Even if you do think the goons are weak, you can't deny they'll always have the most iconic goons. Oh, Jesse James and Meowth, they've long since been canon to the games, so you could throw them in here too. But either way, Giovanni does hard carry them power-wise. But I think Team Rocket's strength, it comes more in numbers, technology, financially. They've got 2 regions worth of territory. Classic villainy, stealing fossils, running dodgy casinos, grave robbing Cubone skulls, taking Mr. Fuji hostage in the process, taking the entirety of Silphco hostage for Master Ball blueprints. When you look at the resume, you just can't beat Team Rocket when it comes to textbook organized crime. When this lot are doing full-on house invasions for the sole purpose of stealing a TM for dig. It's not even just money or power at that point. That's just pure love of the game. That's what I rate about Rocket. I like that grounded mafia group. Maybe it's my own headcanon, my idea of them, but I don't really care. Money and power-hungry Giovanni. He seems realistically evil. Rainbow Rocket's version, he seems much more comically evil. Multiverse domination, giant dark castle with his logo on the front. It's like he's been brought down to the Ghetsis Lysander levels of blowing up Pokemon orphanages. Obviously, Giovanni, he's always been about wanting power, but like building an army of Ultra Beasts, conquering the multiverse, it seems a little bit out of his depth. You're trying a bit too hardy, John. With an evil castle like this, I can't tell if he just wants to traffic Pokemon or create his own Eggman-tropolis. The main thing that lets Team Rocket down a bit for me. They're relatively easy opponents to take down, especially when Giovanni went for his pack of Siggies. Oh, we all know how that one goes. Yeah, good luck getting a one-to-one with your dad again. You better start praying a wormhole opens up in the sky, spawns you a fresh new one. But that's what's really holding Team Rocket back here. In fact, pinning them down to the mat in a pretty nasty headlock. Johto's reformed Rocket under Archer, because that's still a significant part of the faction's lore, but it really does tarnish the legacy Big Johnny left behind. Your man Archer in his job squad, he couldn't even get a song request through to the Johto radio DJ. It's always been down to Team Rocket and Team Plasma, but at least you can say Team Plasma's revival, it wasn't a piss take. The second coming of Team Plasma was a much bigger threat than the original. Team Rocket never had the entire Pokemon League on paid leave to scrap with them, but Team Plasma, it has a bit of everything. Champion level trainers, top shelf technological feats, classic organized crime in, comically evil villains, but still somewhat grounded in Pokemon's reality. They're even a bit corny too. They've got the whole package. Like Ghetsis, he's obviously stupidly Toon Force levels of evil. The guy walks about with a cane. I know he's not holding that because his GP advised him to with his dodgy knees, and I'm pretty sure if provoked would release some kind of toxin that immediately gives you cancer. But his motivations and methods are quite grounded. The collective gaslighting of the region, making it a massive ethical issue on Pokemon, virtue signaling that Pokemon are treated cruelly to make Pokemon illegal to own. But right as everyone's about to get rid of their most powerful Pokemon, he's like, no, you first. I'll chuck Hydreigon away. Trust. I'll try. Don't worry. It's pretty funny. It's a good bit. Hey, everyone. It'd be a great idea. How about we just released all our own Pokemon? That'd be jokes, wouldn't it? Alright, you guys go first. I'll do it later. So yeah, I've already done mine. I already did mine. Don't worry, my PC's empty. It's like dominating your council estate by being the only one left who's still got an XL bully. And he spends his whole life grooming his adoptive son that he found in the woods on his own somewhere to carry out his plan further. That's an all-time Pokemon world domination attempt from both versions of Plasma. As long as you can ignore every powerful trainer who's simply just not a Neek who'd bow down to a law like that so easily. People like Red or Drake, they don't strike me as the sort to care enough about politics to be influenced into releasing their Pokemon, and could probably have a good crack at taking down a Ghetsis-led world. Both Plasma teams, they were hustling. They were making moves all throughout, stealing Pokemon, harassing the general public, trauma dumping onto you while trapped on a slow, long Ferris wheel ride and cannot exit the conversation. All of this while carrying out an entire Pokemon civil rights movement. They even had a plan to hack into the PC system and release every single Pokemon on there, which, you know, I gotta say, that might have been game. And of course, course, they got a hold of Kyurem and froze an entire city. You can't deny their success when Neoplasma brought about the closest thing Pokemon's had to a 9/11. Sir, a second Plasma frigate has hit the tower. So all in all, you could argue Team Plasma is the most successful evil team going, given how close Ghetsis was on 2 separate occasions, even going as far as breaking out of prison. Escaping high security prison, that must be an insane feat to have in Pokemon's world. I'm telling you, a prison breakout must be near impossible with boys in blue pocket monsters. The man is slippery, I'll give him that. Feel as though the only way would be to smuggle in a Pokeball with an Abra just to teleport you out. Just imagining that's the most common method of escaping jail, so they just have a Poke Center on site to make sure it's always the nearest one you teleport to. Got one down in solitary confinement, just turning yourself in again.